Hey guys, I'm so excited to introduce to you this really cool way of learning. It's called the flipped learning environment, where I give you the direct instruction at home that you need and you can do everything in the classroom and feel confident. Are you guys ready? I'm really excited. So let's take a look. Keep in mind a few things. First, you can pause, you can rewind. You can play as many times as you need to, and you can subscribe to my channel. It's called Miss Clark 14 Math. It's really cool, and I'm going to load all of these on YouTube and on my website, so you want to check it out. There's only a couple things I expect, so take a look at that. 1 page of notes, Cornell style. That's a breeze. We've done those before, so we don't need to go over how to do Cornell notes. And a summary. What did you learn? Pretty simple, right? Well, let's get started. This is called the square roots lesson, so we need to write that title at the top of our page. I'll give you a second. Have your notebook and pencil ready. Normally we do quick writes in class, but because I'm doing the direct instruction at home, we can do it right here and get it done with. So I want you to write down the following numbers as the square of another, and I've given you an example. 49 can be written as 7 squared. So here are 6 others: 25, 4, x squared, 1/9, and 2. Well, 5 really. Tricky. Can 2 be written as the square of another number? I guess we'll see. Do the best you can. Next up, writing our Cornell style notes. So we're going to start out with what is the square root. Make sure you get that on the left side of your right side page. Well, a square root of a number, a, is a number c such that c squared is equal to a. That seems pretty difficult to understand, so of course I got to give you an example. The square root of 25 is 5, since 5 squared is equal to 25. Sounds easy, right? Well, let's see if you can complete number 2. The square root of 100 is, since blank is equal to blank. Next up, the whole idea of why we take square roots in the first place, the radical expression. There's lots of features to the radical expression, so I want you guys to know all about it. The first up is the symbol. The symbol has a name. It's called the radical sign. Next up, any number or letter that's underneath that radical sign, it's called the radicand. Last but not least, usually there's a number in there, but since there's no number, we call it the index. And that index is always the square root if there's no other number. You might want to highlight this because now it's color time. When you put all 3 of those things together, the radical sign, the radicand, and the index, it's called the radical expression. And I want to make sure you remember. So I'm giving you some color time. How do we find a solution to a square root? That's the second question on the left side of your right side page. Well, in order to do that, we have to isolate x squared, just like if we were solving an equation. Then take the square root of both sides. Don't try to do anything fancy. Don't worry. We'll go over a few of these together. For example, x squared minus 81 is equal to 0. If I want to get x squared by itself, I have to add 81 to both sides first. Once x squared is equal to 81, then I can take the square root of both sides. Notice I have 2 answers. I have a positive 9 and a negative 9. Why? Because I can take negative 9 and multiply it by negative 9 and still get 81, just like I could 9 and 9. So anytime you take the square root, make sure you have 2 answers. Let's try some together. We're going to try to find all the possible values for x by solving the equation. So if x squared is equal to 324, guess what? X squared is already by itself. So what do I need to do? Take the square root of both sides. That sounds pretty simple. Looks like x is going to equal positive and negative 18. What about this one? Kind of looks like the example I gave you. I have to isolate x squared, so I'm going to add 16 to both sides. X squared is equal to 16. X squared is by itself. I'm going to take the square root of both sides. Looks like x is equal to plus and minus 4. Wow, tricky, right? Not really. Most of you are going to want to distribute, but I told you to get x squared by itself. If I distribute, that's going to make my life a little harder. So here's what I'll do instead. I know 3 is easily divisible by 9, so I'm going to divide the whole thing by 3 first. Now I have x squared minus 1 is equal to 3. And then I'm going to repeat the process like I did for number 2. Add 1 to both sides, and I have x squared is equal to 4. That's a lot nicer than distributing and not as much work. So now that x squared is by itself, I'm going to take the square root of both sides. X is now equal to plus or minus 2. Yuck! What about fractions? How do we do that? Again, get x squared by itself. So let's do this together. We're going to add 8. Then we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. So now I have x squared is equal to 36. Then we're going to take the square root, and x is equal to plus or minus 6. See? Distribution is not always the way to go. See if you can try this one all on your own. So, that's the end of the lesson. What to expect? 2 to 5 minutes, 2 to 3 times a week, maybe not even that often. And again, you can subscribe to Miss Clark 14 Math and expect a quiz the next day, just to know that just so that I know you watched the video. I hope this helps, and if it doesn't, email me or contact me on Twitter or Instagram for any concerns. Thanks, guys. See you next time.